Hello, welcome to Christ Center Gamer's latest unboxing and kind of preliminary review of there we go, the Be Quiet Pure Power 1000 watt. Whoop, I hit my mic. So, what can I say about the Pure Power 12 1000 watt? So, first of all, thank you, Be Quiet, for sending this to us to review. Um, this is probably the first time I've really reviewed a power supply. Um, So I'm not going to be able to, I don't have a full lab. Like for example, on the back, it says that there are, it can handle up to 1,000 watts on 12 volts, which is great. 120 watts on 3.3 and 5, up to 3.3 and 5 volts can max out at 120 watts. And negative 12 is 3.6 and 5 volts is 15 watts. I don't have the technical equipment to measure and prove that, right? So I'm not going to be able to prove whether or not it stands up to its specs. What I will say is that I have had nothing but excellent experiences with the product so far. You could say I'm biased because I'm a reviewer, maybe, and maybe that's the case. Okay, but I reviewed their one of their all-in-one coolers, and it's been excellent. So I look forward to seeing how good this is as well. So I am going to be replacing or testing and comparing this 1,000 watt power supply with another 1,000 watt power supply by another vendor. So you just the one I use in my machine. I don't have a lab or a test bench per se, but I can say that I can compare it against what I have already. And this is Be Quiet's most economical 1,000 watt power supply. So I guess the first question is, why would you need a 1,000 watt power supply? Well, many people don't. If you're running, a typical rig, mid-range CPU, like a, 6 core, whatever, with a mid-range, GPU, a 60 series or 70 series, or AMD equivalent, you probably don't need a 1,000 watt power supply. 1,000 watt power supply is for those with either overclocking their CPUs, running an Intel CPU. Nowadays they're really hot, or running a large, powerful graphics card that would be over, say, 300 or 400 watts, along with a lot of other stuff. So that's why you would want 1,000 watts. The largest you can get is, I think, 12 or 1,500. Most people, even if you're running a 4090 or 5090, you probably don't need over 1,000 watts. But my ears being silly today. Um, but regardless, 1,000 watts should be able to run pretty much any most reasonable builds outside of high-end overclocking or whatever you might need. So here we go. Now this one I think is MSRP is for about 149 and is currently on sale at the time of this filming for about 129. So pretty decent for 1,000 watt, especially from a good reputable brand. So that's great. And for 80 plus gold certification, I think their spec sheet says it's 92% efficient, which is pretty great. So here we go. So this is the manual with a little QR code on it. Nothing too special. There you go. I'll just put that aside. Um, stuff a snack for later. We got your typical screws to hold it into the case. Some zip ties if you need to keep cables clean. Here's your really honking, what do you call it? Standard power cord. And then we've got the goods. Okay, so in here is power supply, which I'll just unveil right here. There you go, power supply. Put that on the ground, and we've got the cables as well. Now, it's important to note that the Pure Power 12, the Pure Power 12 series, has a 120 millimeter fan. I don't want to be quiet fan, so you know it's going to be quiet. Yeah, I know. But this is not a modular power supply. This one is all integrated. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this from the case or from the box, and there's really nothing else in here. All right, and then we've got to remove the plastic, show off the power supply. There we go. It's a nice sharp black with the Be Quiet logo on the side, right there. We've got all of the ratings, which I guess I'll show you in more closer detail on this side. There you go. Hopefully I held it steady enough for you. And of course the fan on the bottom and the honking chunk of cables. So a couple things to note. Believe it or not, every connector does lose a little bit of efficiency on cables. So the fact that you have to connect into something, that means that there's a bit more resistance than if there isn't a connector. So modular power supplies, while really cool, I like them too, um, are technically less efficient and have more points of failure. Is that really something you have to worry about? Probably not. And it does look nice not having this bunch of cables in your case. But it's important to note that it is going to be more reliable. And the other big benefit of the classic style non-modular power supply, you don't have to worry about losing any cables. So modular cables are really cool. They got, all these different plugs here you can plug in your cables to instead of this big thing that comes out of the back, this big honker. But it's important to note that I will never lose this. If this power supply exists and I haven't lost the power supply, these cables will always be there. I have lost multiple modular power supply, cables over the years. At this point, I just keep the original box and try not to throw it out just so I don't lose it. But if I misplace that box or if I can't find it and I want to give away or use the power supply for something else, that happened to me. I have my daughter got one of my gigabyte power supplies, had an 850-watt gigabyte, and it was modular, cool. I couldn't find the original cables, so I had to give her what I thought was the right parts and what I had connected to it. Fortunately, she didn't need more. But the point is it's easy to lose parts. So a couple good things to note. It's got very long cables here, which I would say is pretty nice for your standard 12 volts. And this is, whoa, here we go. Oh, this is neat. All right, so we got a PCI 5.1 600-watt cable for your 5090 or 4090. Big honker right there. That's great. This is kind of the big selling point of a big power supply like this. And this is the new 5.1 rather than the 5.0 connector, so it should be more resilient to mistakes in connection. Basically, I think they added some slight adjustments to the depths of the connectors, a few more sensors in there so that it doesn't overheat and catch fire. That's the idea. So that's really cool. You've got your standard CPU cables here. You've got another one here, PCIe slash CPU. You've got, let's see, you've got one Molex and two SATA power connectors on this one right here. And this one is 4 SATA, so only one Molex total included, it looks like. But fortunately, splitters are easy, so I'm glad they included at least one. And then, okay, so here's PCIe. So we got 1, 2, 3 PCIe cables, it looks like. So two CPU cables, two of the 8-pin CPU cables, three PCIe connectors. One of them is doubled on one. And then the new PCIe 5.1 cable. So this should be able to handle most reasonably demanding systems. Up to 6 SATA power devices. So 6 SSDs or mechanical spinners. One classic one with the Molex connector, and then a whole bunch of other ones. And these are all 8-pin with optional 6, right? So you got the little connector to your 6-pin to make it 8 on each of these. So yeah, that's it. I will let you know how it runs in operation. I'll probably put it in my computer for a while, if not permanently. I'll decide. I'm not sure yet, but I will decide. Be Quiets are known for their low noise levels, so I'm sure it's going to be great in that respect. And I don't think this model has RGB lighting, so we'll have to live with just the spinning, spinning. But it does have finger protectors here. It feels good. It doesn't feel cheap or thin. Um, and it has a 10-year warranty. I'm glad that's probably a really important point is that this power supply has a 10-year warranty. So, all right, I hope that helps you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to look in the or ask in the comments. I'll try to have some kind of written review to go with this, but I'll be honest with you, it's probably not going to be too exciting. It's just a black box with cables on it, connects to power. But hopefully I outdo myself on this one. Take care, God bless, and have a great day.